Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. Today, I'm going to take a pause on part 6, which is conditioned normalized assholism syndrome. And the reason why I'm pausing is to give an example based upon the videos that I've been doing as to when I mentioned that I still use Ken P's words of wisdom even to this day. Now, everybody keeps on saying it's, a confusing situation that I'm in, but they understand, going from friendly dork in the words of wisdom when he was respectful to me to the self-centered prick. So, in the recent bullying incident and even other times, they had mentioned that I was, sharing screenshots or whatever, and that's how it all started. All those lies and stuff, that was part of the lies. But anyways, it was, quite interesting because of a situation that happened recently. So first, I'm going to read the words of wisdom that is by Ken P. So it's copyrighted, so, he might sue me if I don't give him credit for his words of wisdom. It's a copyright infraction. Anyways, so I'll go ahead and read that. This is from November 13th, 2019. Ken P. Your morals are who you are. Changing who you are to please someone else will only make them happy and you unhappy. Not worth it. Wow. I still remember that night when he said that to me based upon what I had mentioned to him. And it was based upon what most people relate, situations of DV to, which again is intimate partnership, which is what most people always think of. Because that goes back to sloppy hypocritical ageism of where adults have most adults have their mind in a, gutter all the freaking time. So, I'm going to be given examples as to how that came about and where I used it within other instances. So, this is what happened, is a friend came to me and she was telling me about a relationship of her and a male friend. So he wants certain things that she feels are against her own morals and standards as to what she feels is right and wrong, as to what makes her feel bad about herself and lowers her pride. So when she was telling me this, giving advice can be very hard, and it all depends on how you say it and whatnot. Even people in the mental health field, many of them are very, I'd say, not so good, or very bad, I should say, at times too. As for giving suggestions and advice, many quotes, they actually are flawed. I've come to realize many quotes. So what's important about giving advice that is actually very effective? That's where the creative, inspirational realization as to what I've been writing about as for mental health therapy. Am I saying that it would work for everybody? No. Everybody is different, but it worked for me. I find things that are stated that actually apply to many other things is the best quotes. That they're the types of things that you would want to hang up as for reminders and self-affirmations for yourself, as for things you should use throughout your entire life in order to have self-love and self-respect for yourself. So, based upon the words of wisdom, I had, thought about it when my friend was telling me about the problems she was having with her male friend. I'm thinking to myself, and then I was like, whoa, I just remembered Ken P's words of wisdom that he gave me. So, yes, I looked it up. See, I have to let them know because it's a copyright infraction. And also I shared a, screenshot from, Facebook, because after I had read what he gave to me on November 13th, 2019, I read that to that friend, and she was like, just like I was that night, like, wow, So she asked me if I could send it to her. So I shared it. I was like, okay. So I shared it. So I'm letting Ken P know that I shared his words of wisdom through a text message on the phone. So if he's approached and somebody says that I shared that with something from PM that he shared with me for words of advice, his words of wisdom, I should say, then it's actually true. So I'm going to be honest. Anyways, even though the other stuff was lies that I was sharing PMs or whatever based upon the other incidents of the bullying crap. So, okay. Now, those same words of wisdoms actually had come into play for me recently. So did his Ken doesn't give a F line. I actually used that recently. Luckily nobody was around when I was saying it to myself. Not in the same way. So, anyways, what happened recently? Now, this can apply again as to where I say that respect should be within any type of relationship, not just intimate partnership that most people always relate it to, like it is something that you have to do when you're in an intimate partnership, and all other relationships are just, because there's no point of having any relationship if there isn't respect in it. So this is where I applied it to. So say you have certain friends and they like to hang out with you, but then, it comes to where they're like, you call them, I don't know, say at 9 in the morning, because they said that they might want to hang out. So you call them to see if they do. They say, well, I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know in a few hours. Well, that brings me back to where in my whole life, most of it I should say, is that I was an option. I let myself be an option in the relationships I chose to have, which is another huge reason why most of my relationships were toxic. And that also goes back to my, conditioned in ways as for when I did live with my 3 alcoholics, as to lowering myself based upon what I needed in a relationship and what, was actually fair and what I actually deserved. And I did that with other relationships. And like I stated, I had focused on the relationship I had with Ken, and I did realize that I was basically an option too in that relationship. I ended up becoming an option. So now back to the story. So these people, they'll say, well, maybe, in a few hours I'll let you know. Well, I'm not going to sit around waiting for somebody to decide whether or not they feel like being with me. So I'm respectful to others, because if somebody says, can we hang out tomorrow, and they tell me what they want to do, I say, sure. The only time I'm going to change those plans and be respectful towards them is if something important comes up, such as a job matter or, something like that. Otherwise, I'm not going to, drop the plans unless, I'm really extremely exhausted where I'm not going to be a fun at all. So that's another thing. Compromise. That comes into play too within any type of relationship. You're not always going to do something that you like to do the most. It should be, what's the word? Equal within the word respect. So that also takes effort. But you do it equally as to give and take. So, say I like to go to the beach. This person prefers to go out on a picnic at the river or at a park. So, what do? I'd give to them what they like to do, but I should also, expect them to do the same for me and do something that, they enjoy a little bit, but they're doing it for me too. And that's within a healthy relationship. I myself always did what others enjoyed to do the most and went along with it. You know, I was the one that, you know, said, okay, I'll wait to see if you decide whether or not you want to do it or not, you know. So that affects me negatively. And like I said, I had very low expectations. You always hear people say, you know, to save yourself from being hurt, don't expect anything from anybody. I don't agree with that quote, because what is that saying? That's saying that just accept what they're doing. That's basically what it's saying, is that don't expect anything. So just, you know, stay in relationships where they do things that are not respectful and treating you with respect. No, I should expect certain things within any relationship I choose to have when it involves respect and respecting me. And that's what I'm going to do. It's not about not expecting, it's about expecting, because all the rest of them are expendable. Now, back to that. So, recently, my friend came up with an idea as to writing out people in my life as to what they've done to help me achieve my goals, as for what I've been through in my life and where I've come to. So, you know, I wrote down all the people that I still consider, you know, valuable in my life, or that I find, you know, good for me in certain ways. But, you know, of course they said, wow, you have all these people, and, you know, wow, that's great. But you know what? I see I should say all of them, I see as being something that I could toss out. Because I'm at that point in my life where I have a lot of trust issues. And that's especially due after the recent bullying incident and after what Ken P had done. You know, the friendly dork, you know, became extremely a self-centered prick. So now where else does that go to? That goes to, you know, relationships. You know, right now it's still extremely hard for me to have friendships and dealing with that. And there's people that wanted more than friendships that I've encountered. And I honestly, for the first time, I still don't want any intimate relationship whatsoever. It's like the last thing on my mind. Absolutely the last thing. And yeah, it's human nature that people, you know, most people, they usually want to have a relationship and be intimate and all that stuff. And many people don't understand it when somebody such as myself comes to a point in their life where it's like the last thing on their mind. Like they have absolutely no interest in it. And they don't quite comprehend that. Okay, so Ken's words of wisdom. Let's go back to that. You know, me being an option in somebody's life and only being an option and not a choice in their life, that's only making them happy. That's making me unhappy, because when I'm an option, that means I'm expendable as to only pleasing them. And that could also apply to the, you know, people that, you know, have somebody in their life just for when they want to have sex. The friends with benefits, I don't even consider that a friend, you know, because they're just using that person just when they want to have sex. I've never done it, but that's the same thing as in any type of relationship. And that would apply to that type of thing, as to people that only want me there if they want to do and, you know, just feel like it. You know, it's like, okay, sure, I'll let you know in a few hours if I want to or not. No, let me know now, because I'm not going to be an option. You either want to hang out with me today and do this or that, but don't keep me hanging around thinking that I'm just going to be there for whenever you want to do something, because that's not a relationship I'm going to keep. That's something I learned even during the time I was trying to escape. I'm not going to be an option anymore. My 3 alcoholics always made me feel like I was an option and what I wanted didn't matter. And I should say what I actually needed. And what I realize now is that I need stability. I need people that respect me. I need people that respect that I have needs and wants too, and that they should be equal to me as I am to them, or try to be, at least. And realize that there's compromise within any type of relationship, and that it's very important to be able to compromise in order to have a healthy relationship. Again, I'm going to read Ken P's words of wisdom. Your morals are who you are. Personal boundaries. Your personal boundaries are important. Personal boundaries is protecting you from those who are intentionally trying to harm you and people that don't respect you and don't treat you equally within the relationship. Anything that goes against those letters in the word respect that I've given as for the definition of respect. So changing who you are to please someone else, that would be me being an option in somebody's life and only being, available to them based upon when they, only when they want me around. That's going to benefit only them, and only if it's going to benefit them. I'm not going to be around, hanging around, wasting my time as though I'm just something, an option. Because that's exactly what happened, even with the relationship I had with Ken. I became an option. And I'm more worthy and more valuable than to be just an option in somebody's life. Those are the people that are be expendable to me, as to I don't need those types of people in my life anymore. I deserve better than that. And I am important and valuable. And I don't need those types of relationships. And I'd rather be alone than have people like that. Like my friend Christy had recently mentioned, you shouldn't, your relationship shouldn't be based upon materialistic things, that they hold against you, like, oh, well, I did this for you and that, so that, that means that I'm a better friend than you, or that you owe me this or that, None of that is what a relationship should be, whether it's an intimate partnership or friendship or family. A relationship is based upon respect, and that you both put in the effort to keep that respect between the two of you and treat each other as equal within the relationship, no matter what type of relationship it is. Okay, changing who you are to please someone else will only make them happy and you unhappy. Not worth it. It isn't worth it, because it doesn't feel good to be unhappy. For many years, I really didn't know what it felt like to be truly happy within a relationship, because I was conditioned as to where being unhappy was the happy to me. And I didn't know that there was something better than that. And those words of wisdom actually helped me realize that, is that I do deserve to be happy. And in order for me to be happy, it does require me to expect to be treated with respect. And also is that I shouldn't be an option in somebody's life. That would mean that they just only want me around when they feel, that they want that. Instead of being able to compromise and realize that sometimes you do have to, give in a little bit, and do something that you may not like the most, but you should also expect it back from the other person as an equal in the word respect. And also putting in effort, meaning you may not feel, you want to do that exactly that day what that person does, but you do it anyways, because what? They do the same thing for you at times without complaining or trying to make you feel guilty. Like my friend Christy had mentioned, shouldn't be tit for tat, like I did this for you or that and that. That's not what a relationship, grows as to being healthy. That will actually make it very toxic. And also being an option and allowing yourself to be an option in a relationship can make that relationship begin to become even more toxic and keep on becoming more and more toxic. And that's exactly what one of the issues, just one of the issues that happened between me and Ken, was that I became an option with the excuses, like I stated, as for why he started to softly ghost me, and then the obvious lies that he gave as for why he was doing it. So that's what I paid attention to. And that happens in any type of relationship where somebody treats you like an option instead of being a choice, that they want you in their life, that they're willing to put an effort and be equal within that relationship and respect you. So I'm going to read his words of wisdom again. Again, this is, copyrighted, and I'm reminding Ken P that I had shared the screenshot of his words of wisdom. I might even, make a business out of it. I'm going to, make flashcards of all his words of wisdom that I found very helpful even to this day. But I think I'm going to need to put, a copyright with his name on it. That way he doesn't sue me. Okay, I'll stop. See, I have a sense of humor, and there's people that are way too serious that don't get it. And that's exactly what another friend of mine, he mentioned. He's like, you got a sense of humor. That's a good thing. There's too many people that are just too serious, and that's not a good thing. So you should be glad and proud that you have a sense of humor, which, I actually think I'm the funniest person in this world. Okay, back to being serious. Ken P, copyrighted, November 13th, 2019. Your morals are who you are. Changing who you are to please someone else will only make them happy and you unhappy. Not worth it. That's right. That's something I need to hang on my walls to read it every single day. So this was part 6, was being paused to give an example based upon what I've been stating throughout my videos as to using the friendly dork's words of wisdom that is now the self-centered prick. But like I stated, I still use those words of wisdom, and I just explained why and how that actually still even works, even though he's a self-centered prick that he turned into. But anyways, I hope to see you for part 6 continued, unless I pause it again, of course. But part 6 continued, which is conditioned, normalized assholism syndrome. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.